Long days, pleasant nights, and welcome to Kingslingers, a Doof Media podcast journeying through Stephen King's Dark Tower series and beyond. I am your host, Scott Daly, and joining me, as always, she's gonna kill that fucking clown. It's Kim C. How's it going today, Kim?
Hi, everybody. You're darn tootin'. Let's do this.
I feel like I just ruined our SEO chances on YouTube by saying the F word in the first 10 seconds of the video, but, you know, what can you do?
That's okay. The spirit moves you.
Exactly. Today on the show, we are here to talk about the finale of It, Welcome to Derry, Chapter 1, as we learned. It's not just It, Welcome to Derry. It's It, Welcome to Derry, Chapter 1, which, I mean, I think we already knew that, but they still put it at the end of the episode like it was a big, huge reveal.
Always messing with us, always throwing curveballs.
They are. I mean, the same thing happened with the movie, right? Where, like, they put Chapter 1 at the end of the movie as if everyone didn't know it was the first part of a two-part story. But I guess, like, the target audience for the movie was people who had really never read the book before. I mean, I won't say that's a target audience. It was trying to appeal to those type of people. And I think those type of people would have been surprised by to learn that this was part of a larger story. And I think the same is true with this television show. It is part of a larger story. What that story is? Well, we'll get into that.
That we will.
This episode 8, Winter Fire, was written by Jason Fuchs and directed by Mr. Andy Muschietti himself. So I think that's 3 of the 8 that Andy Muschietti directed. And before we get into it, like, great looking show. I just want to remind myself and everyone else of that. Like, from a looks perspective, from a production design perspective, I think this absolutely belonged in the Sunday night on HBO slot. It's just some of the other stuff, you know?
It was very visually strong. Lots of cool moments.
Yeah. Kim, before we get into it tonight, though, I did want to just briefly talk. You know, I think last night I finished watching the episode and then I pulled out my phone because I was mad, as is my usual Sunday night activity. And that's when I learned that director Rob Reiner and his wife were horribly murdered in their home in LA last night. And I just wanted to bring this up on the podcast just because, you know, I don't think you can be a Stephen King fan remotely at all without eventually, like, coming across Rob Reiner and his works. I mean, just the 2 King adaptations he directed, and then his production studio Castle Rock produced and created many, many more. And so it's just like, this was a horrifyingly sad thing to happen. And I think what I'll say is it put things in perspective for me, where I was getting ready to get on the internet and start whining about this television show I had a lot of problems with. And then, like, it was like, oh, there are more important things than decent to bad TV shows sometimes, you know?
Absolutely. I'm really heartbroken about it. And I'm so glad that we are talking about it because he is very integral to the Stephen King experience on film. His adaptations are at the top. They're our treasures. And so what a lovely man. What a tragic, tragic ending. I hate this.
Yeah. Yeah, I threw on Stand By Me last night and then fell asleep in bed watching it, just because I wanted something. I wanted something, and I was like, this is good. This is good enough. I want something Rob Reiner, and Stand By Me is always a good one to fall back on. And I just, like, I only watched about half of it before I fell asleep because it was pretty late at night. But just what an incredible movie. What a wonderful, like, I think there is a certain argument to be made that nobody has quite captured the feeling of reading a Stephen King book like Reiner did with that movie. There's just something, like, and like, there's been many directors that have done King very, very well. You know, Frank Darabont, Mike Flanagan, of course, that understand Stephen King and what makes Stephen King stories work. But there's something about Stand By Me that feels like it captures, like, every time you read about kids hanging out in a Stephen King story, whether it's, I mean, the body itself or even it, right? There's something about how Reiner made that movie that just, like, that's it. That's what it feels like to read those sections in the book. It's remarkable what he did there.
I love that. I think you're 1,000% correct. And I think it's Boyhood done right. It's the
Yeah.
1950s done right. It's just firing on all cylinders. And then, of course, you've got River Phoenix and Corey Feldman, and the cast is just, I love those boys so much. And I also think it's Boyhood that's accessible. So if you are a girl and you watch it, I mean, it's just so inviting. It doesn't alienate anybody. Like, I do think some Boyhood pictures do, and you're like, ew, gross, like I don't need this. Or this is a bridge too far. This is too much into Boyhood to where it's alienating, and this one walks that line so beautifully. It's genius. It's a masterwork.
Yeah. There's a poster in my son's room of like, it's like a custom poster of the kids from Stand By Me walking like down the train tracks, and it has that line on it. I never had any friends later like the ones I had when I was 12. Jesus, does anyone? It's like one of my favorite lines ever. I love it so much. So yeah, I think we're all a little bit sadder, and the world is a little bit darker without Rob Reiner. But I think we're lucky that he was such a prolific actor, writer, director, producer, that so many of the best examples of every genre are things that he had his hand in. So that's a pretty incredible life, and it ended tragically and horribly, but man, what a life.
What a life indeed. I'm so glad we have his films.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this stupid TV show.
Copy that.
So Kim, what did you think? Episode 8, Winter Fire. What did you think of it?
Well, I did have fun. I did. There was popcorny moments that I appreciate. The pacing, the tension, it all got really exciting. I was locked in my seat. I was here for the ride, but I had to keep telling my brain, stop thinking, stop thinking, just put that away, put it in the back. Don't think about that right now, which was very difficult by the end of the second act. I was like, oh, good God. Okay. But there was some great moments, some really fun comic booky popcorny moments, and that's not a bad thing. It's not. It's fun. It was engaging, but problems. We got some problems, Scott.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. You know, I mean, like one thing that I think everyone involved in the show understood on a very distinct level is how to make a moment land. I mean, we talked about that last week with Rich's death. I think we both found that moment very powerful. It did everything it needed to do. And there are certainly moments in this finale that do exactly what a finale should do. I mean, like the moment of all the kids all grabbing onto the dagger and pushing it in, and this visualization of the power of friendship and the power of this group of kids, even the ghost of Rich as he runs in and helps out too, versus Pennywise, that one shot at the end as it's turning into a bat and like about to jump on them right as they put, like, all of that, like that's just the television show understanding what makes a good moment, what makes a good set piece, like how to convey emotion. And it worked on me. It did. Like, did I roll my eyes a little bit when Rich Ghost like suddenly appeared and started jogging across the ice? A little bit, but then like I let that go, and I said, no, like this has been a thing that's always been true with it. Is this is a story about friendship and a story about the power of friendship, and the idea of visualizing that Rich's strength and power is with them still via his ghost coming up and physically being there. Like, sure, like that's great. That I enjoyed that, and I thought it all worked on me. I'm about to say but here though, Kim. I'm about to say but.
Oh, I'm with you. I hear you clucking.
The machinations and plot needed to get us there, I just thought was just
abysmal,
real bad. Yeah, like just like so much like 11th hour plot explaining to get everything into the place where it needed to be for these killer moments to land. And I found it frequently exhausting. And I agree with you. Like there's moments where I had to just be like, shut up, Scott, shut up. Like, why is he doing that? Why? Huh? What? It does that now? Where? Huh? What? and like just all in my head, and I just had to shh, and like that. I mean, that made it difficult to watch the episode at times.
Yes, 11th hour is the perfect way to describe that because, man, they jammed in a lot. And those final moments to make the finale work, to make the end of the second act so explosive, because I'm with you. I thought it was great. It was very cool. It was very powerful. It felt epic. Mm-hmm. But what was needed plot-wise in order to make that work is... I'm dumbfounded. Mouth agape with what was done.
I think the best way to start is with essentially the opening act of the show, which is the mist that you and I have been talking about for the last 8 weeks that we saw in an early trailer as we see like this mist pour into Derry. And I think over the course of the show, you and I have kind of been racking our brains saying like, what could this be? Where does this come from? Are we going to do like literally like a mist thing or like a Project Arrowhead thing? Are we going to blend those two ideas together? Where is this mist going to come from? How is it going to, and we're just like racking our brain trying to figure this out. We spent too much time on that, Kim.
You're right. We did because it's just Pennywise becoming Storm from X-Men.
Yeah. Like, I guess you knock out one of the pillars and now Pennywise can make mist and also ice. And snow, and like the mist can kill plants. Well, it kills a plant, one plant. It doesn't. We don't see any humans die from the mist, but it does kill that one plant.
Just the one. Just the one wilty shrub there.
Maybe the shrub just like was already on death's door, and it was just like, fuck this, I'm out. And it has nothing to do with the mist whatsoever.
It just captured its dying breath. I'm out. Bye.
Also, what was with that woman in the store that like puts her hand on the glass and has the creepy Pennywise smile, and then there's like a red balloon floating, reflecting in the glass? Like, was that supposed to be it? What?
That's a great question. My initial reaction is, the mist possesses people? The mist, yeah.
I thought we were doing a thing where he's turning everyone into essentially possess, like a mass possession, a mass Pennywise-ification. Like, I mean, Pennywise is like the Joker in a lot of ways in this show. And I mean, one of the Joker's most popular methods of manipulation is by inadvertently, or not like intentionally, but unknown to the people, poisoning them and making them like get really freaky big smiles and crack up laughing and stuff like that. So that's what I thought we were doing too.
Same. There's no continuity with that. These concepts are introduced and then we're like, wait, what's happening? And then nope, going too fast, pacing's on pedal to the metal.
It's just another one of those moments where I wonder if this is piece of a different idea, an earlier idea that was shot and then reformatted into something else. I don't know. Like, honestly, like special effects are so expensive these days that you like spend all this time to render this mist that's pouring into the town, and then you decide to go another way. And then you're like, shit, but we spent all that money on that mist. Can we find a place to use the mist? And then, yeah, we solved it. Here, mist. Boom.
I think you're probably entirely accurate that that's what happened. I think this was a total copy-paste whoops. Like, well, we were going to possess the town, but then that got too messy, so we'll just go with the mist. And then just speed up things to Chamberlain High School. I'm sorry, Derry High School.
Yeah, I mean, because like it felt like this could be all part of a larger plot movement. The idea of the town being completely enveloped in mist, and like we don't really see what happens to any of the people of Derry. Again, a constant complaint I have with the show, that in a show called Welcome to Derry, we see so little of Derry itself. Again, a missed opportunity here. I mean, the one thing I will say is we do get to see all the kids in school, and I just like legitimately enjoy the scene in the school. Like every part of it. Pennywise like putting his fingers up to slowly touch the intercom to announce everyone needs to head to the gym. Him puppeteering the principal and then ripping his head off in front of him. Like, that's gnarly shit that I appreciated and liked. And then like he like punts the head through a window. I thought all that was great, except when I think about it for 5 seconds and I'm like, Kim, why was he doing any of this stuff?
You're right. I liked it too. It was funny. It was very darkly comedic. And I like everyone got blasted by those deadlights. Even Bert the turtle. Poor Bert. Bert went up too. So no turtle power. No Matt Shern power for Bert. No, I liked it too. But yeah, exactly. You're just like, what are we doing? This is not Pennywise. He doesn't entertain. Maybe he is playing with his food. I don't know what
was
we're
it
doing.
like a to-go snack, you think? Like he was about to leave and he just wanted to like have a to-go snack with him in case he got hungry on the road?
Right, that tracks. Or is this like they're trying to make him like the Pied Piper kind of thing where all the kids follow after and he's got the tuba and he's just like we've got like a Pied Piper. I don't know, cuz yeah, you're absolutely correct. There's no logical reason for this.
Yeah. Especially since like at the end of the day, like it's mere seconds that separate the kids from achieving their objectives and Pennywise from escaping from his prison, right? And it's like, man, just think what would have happened if this guy just like immediately walked to the tree. We would have been fucked. But no, thank God he stopped and picked up Will and then the entirety of the high school for no reason.
Did he think the girls were at the school? So he was scooping up all of them in theory?
I mean, sure. I mean, that's as good of a... I mean, so there's an argument to be made, and I think the show is kind of making this argument that what is being done here, like, he's leaving a very obvious blood trail behind him, right? And that's what the girls follow in order to catch up with him. So there's an argument to be made that he's leading them for some reason. I mean, I think one of the things we learn in this week's episode, and this gets into kind of our timey-wimey time travel nonsense a little bit, but one of the things we learned that he wants to kill Marge specifically, right? Like,
right.
And so maybe drawing the girls out to... I mean, like, you could get really like 4-dimensional chess with this, and I don't think the show is this smart, and I don't think the show wants you to think Pennywise is this smart, but that like he's gonna lead. He knows they have the dagger, but he knows that the power of the dagger will be stronger the further away, so he's leading them to where he's going, which is the edge of the town. So he knows the dagger will manipulate them the most at this spot. Like you could say that's what he's doing and all this stuff, but I just don't buy it. I don't buy it.
No, I don't buy it at all, because that's, again, I'm like choking on that. Like everything, all that giant idea, you're just like, what? That's so complex.
It's too much. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Where was the blood coming from, Scott? Like, I was really confused about that. I know it's in the cart because he opens the door and blood spills out, but is he eating floating kids, or did he kill a bunch of Derry citizens and then it's their blood? I'm so confused, Scott.
It's just the blood. It's the blood of it.
Copy that.
I mean, like, there's legitimately no answer here. Like, it's just...
true. It's true. It's like, what a question that they don't want you to ask. Yeah. You're just supposed to not ask it. You're supposed to roll with it. Don't ask.
I mean, that's kind of what it feels like through a lot of this stuff too. Like,
yes.
I mean, there's this one moment that I actually, we're jumping ahead a little bit here, but when the three of them get to the ice, which, by the way, nobody walks on this ice as if it's ice at all. So
no. Nope.
But like, Pennywise jumps out, and we have our three women that I think you predicted like last week. This kind of great thing where we have our three remaining women, children against Pennywise, and he jumps out and he says, "Look who decided to join the circus: the fool, the freak, the failure. But who is who? It doesn't matter." And I'm like, it's one of those things where it's touching up against something that I'm like, oh, that's actually a neat idea of the fool, the freak, the failure, but who is who. And like, here's something that you could do if you spent time characterizing your character sufficiently. Like, you could just have your audience go like, I know exactly who you mean for each of those. But the show almost says to you, it doesn't matter. Literally, the show is saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And
that's not what you do with characters.
Because I think it's a fair question to ask, like, which one is which in that, right? Like, I think you and I were talking about this earlier today, and we kind of came up with our own hypothesis for this, that like maybe the fool is supposed to be Lily. I'm going with the freak as Marge, only because Marge had that moment where she ripped off her eye patch and said, I am a freak to the patty cakes or whatever. And then I guess the failure would be Ronnie, because she failed to get her dad out of prison. Which, by the way, they just kind of yada yada over the fact that something definitely broke Hank Rogan out of prison.
Oh gosh, right? That's another one I had to just put on the shelf as I watched the episode.
Because like one of the things we reasoned is that like we're again, like this kind of complex absurdity of planning that Pennywise must have done to make the events of the show work. Because we never went back to the whole Hank Grogan and Ingrid thing. Like we never referenced that again, right? We had the one moment where they kissed, and then that was it. That was literally just a plot machination, so that she would know he was hiding at the black spot. That's it. And then so like in that regard, it must be that the reason why it freed him from the van, if it was it, was so he could go in hiding, and then the black spot fire could happen, right? But that's a level of planning and coordination and like that I just don't think the show wants us to think Pennywise is not even capable of, but like that's not how he operates. So I don't know.
I hate it. And I really hate how I don't really like in this show and other shows when they say something happened off screen. We never saw the bus liberation.
Yeah.
We never saw that. We just heard about it. So you could speculate in a zillion different directions who did that, right? But we're supposed to keep assuming. You're supposed to assume. And I hate that. I hate that so much.
Yeah.
This is film. You show people.
And even if you're not going to show it, don't introduce the idea, like, because it was a very charged way Mark said it. It's like something hit the bus, something big. I didn't know what it was, right? You're supposed to take meaning from that. Whereas it could have just been, sometimes prison vans crash. Because sometimes all cars crash, right? That happens. And that happened to happen, and he took advantage of it. But no, we introduced the idea that something powerful, something big hit it. We're either immediately thinking, oh, Pennywise, or we're thinking maybe the turtle. Maybe this is I think that's one thing that you estimated possibly happened. But that you introduce it and then leave that kind of... It's not that I need that answered, but it's just like there's all these kind of hanging chads all over this show.
All over.
That I just kind of scratch my head at here.
Yeah, this is the kind of show that I hate to watch, Scott, because like I know you and I have talked about Lost. I know you're a passionate fan, so I will be very respectful, but I hated Lost because that's how Lost made me feel. And that's how Welcome to Derry has made me feel. So by the time we got to episode 8, I texted you. I was like, I feel drained of life. I feel absolutely depleted. And my life force has been siphoned away just because of all the brain energy of wondering and plugging in these clues and filling in these holes to no avail. We never got closure on any of that, and that's what Lost did to me. And now I care even more because it's Stephen King canon, and now we're right back in the same chair.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The milquetoast defense of Lost that I will give is that I always felt like the characterization of the characters was so strong in Lost that even as the show bumbled through its central mystery and what it was or what's not going to be, I felt like I was holding on to who the characters were, and that is not even true at the end. Like there's some character assassination in Lost for sure. Some of those characters, I'm still mad at them about what they did to them in the final seasons. I'm looking at you, Saeed. Poor Saeed.
I loved him.
I did too, until the last season where they just. I don't want to get into it right now, but this show, I think, like there certainly was some good characterization in the show, and obviously just great performances kind of across the board. But it was not strong enough for me to get over the hump of the shagginess of everything else.
Absolutely. All the razzle dazzle and all the beautiful costumes and all the gorgeous sets and all the impeccable actor performances could not revive the suffocation from the plot. The plot sucked all the air out of the room for me.
And perhaps it is. I mean, I think like the beat to beat minute of the plot, I think is problematic, and maybe we can talk about that. But I think one of the things I do want to state here is that perhaps the thing I am struggling with the most is that on a conceptual level, like at the top level of this whole thing, I just have very little interest in what this show is interested in doing, right? That like, it's like, I don't, like we talked about this before, that I don't care about the lore of Pennywise. And like, I think it's cool to see stories in and around Derry and learn more about Derry and things like that. But like the central thing of like, we're going to really dive into the mystery of what it is just something that I really don't care about. And it seems like that is essentially what we're doing in the next 3 seasons of the show. And so like on a level of, on a conceptual level of like, we're going to do this weird time travel, experiencing multiple timelines at the same thing story essentially with it, is something that like on a conceptual level, I'm just like, I don't know about that.
I like that. I like how you framed that. And I know that you've talked about it previously in terms of I'm just not interested. And I fully understand that now, Scott, because I feel the same. I feel that they're going very Marvel Studios with this. Mm-hmm. And if you love Marvel, hey, don't let me yuck your yum. That is fine. But like Scott said, if you don't care about the mysterious otherness of Pennywise, and you're totally fine keeping him in the cosmic mystery barrel, which I think a lot of us readers are fine to keep him there, then you got a problem. You got a problem with some of the viewers who aren't on board with what you're doing, and I'm fully with you now on that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to say. Like, I think the just my cursory anecdotal evidence, the response to this show as a whole and this episode specifically has kind of been overwhelmingly positive. I mean, like, I think critics are a little bit more critical of it than some of the fan response I've seen. But like, for the most part, people have really enjoyed this and really felt like this finale like stuck the landing. And so like, I think it is good for us to make that clear. Like, if that's you, listener out there, I'm so happy for you. Like, I legitimately have nothing against you, and I don't think my dislike of the show reflects at all on your like of the show whatsoever. Enjoy it, please do. I'm a little jealous of you, actually. I wish I could enjoy it on the level you have. But yeah, I mean, I just some of the stuff I just can't get over it, despite all the flashiness and good direction and good and all that stuff. Like, okay, let's try to break it down. The big reveal of the episode, right? The big reveal is Margaret Tozier, which we guessed, right? I mean, we weren't the only ones that made that guess, but we guessed that almost from the very beginning. I did not guess that it would be revealed in this manner, where Pennywise just tells her. He just says, "That's you." But
get ready, Buttercup.
So I want to summarize what I think the show told us in this episode and see if you agree with me, and then maybe we can attack it from there, right? So what we're led to believe is that Pennywise was trapped inside this barrier that these pillars created. When he was confined in this barrier, he was confined in space, yes, but also confined in time. Once that pillar is broken, however, he is freed from the need to do the cycle thing for some reason. You guessed that last week, and I think the show basically proved that out, right? That like the limitation of needing this 27-year cycle seems to have something to do with his imprisonment for some reason. I don't understand why, but sure, whatever. He's also, once the pillar is gone, able to create like a bunch of mist and ice. Sure, whatever. But the big thing is that he also doesn't experience time linearly anymore, is that he experiences the past, the present, and the future in this amalgam where like it's basically like the aliens from Arrival, where he does not experience it in a linear flow. It is all over the place. He can see his past, he can see his future, and he can see the present. And so he already knows that Marge is Richie's mother, and he knows that Richie will eventually kill him. So he wants her dead. And that is, I guess, the reason why he took Will too, right? Because he knows Will is Mike Hanlon's father, and he knows Mike Hanlon has a pretty big part to play in his death. So he wants to kill them to prevent that from happening. Am I right? Is that what you got from this as well?
Yes, in theory. Yours is much more eloquent than mine. Mine was laced with F-bombs. But yes, no, this is a really nice empirical way of gluing the pieces together.
But like, I think that's one thing that I've seen differing opinions on, is the idea of like, is Pennywise only able to experience time this way when the pillars don't exist? Because one thing he says, I think, is like what, you keep me trapped in this one place, this one time, right? And so it was only after the pillars were broken that he was able to experience this and figured out who Marge and who Will were. I don't know if that's for sure, but okay, right?
Right.
And basically it seems like that's going to be the impetus for our further seasons and going backwards in time, is that a Pennywise who experiences time non-linearly is going to also act in those other times simultaneously in order to prevent his possible future from unfolding the way he does not want it to. I do have a question for Mr. Wise, though. If Will makes Mike, and you don't want Mike to be made because he kills you, how come you didn't just kill Will like right away when you were in his house, you were on his fridge? How come? Why didn't you just kill him?
Right?
And then you win, right?
Right? Like, isn't that how this works?
I mean, that's the stakes they've set up for us, right? I mean, like,
right.
Like part of me, I'm being an asshole right now, and I acknowledge that. But also, that is the stakes that is not only going to drive the climax of this season, but is going to drive the seasons in the future as well. Or the seasons in the past, in the future. You know what I mean?
But that, like, I do, sadly.
But like, that's the stakes, right? Is that we're going to presumably see maybe the grandparents of the losers, the great grandparents, whatever, and we're going to see those characters, and those characters are going to be under threat by a Pennywise who is going to be trying to do a baby Hitler, essentially, and prevent them from ever being born. And so in those stakes, you already like kind of you fucked it up a little bit.
That you did. You foibled your own plan. He's going full Terminator 2 the rest of the show forever. Mm-hmm. And I can't handle this, Scott. I think this is where I break. I really do. I do, because I think I mentioned in other episodes how the more I let the book die in my mind, the happier I am watching the show. The more I tell myself, just set it down, let it die. You can't think about the novel when you watch this show. You can't. So the more I did but now, this episode, they've completely rewrote all the rules, Scott. All of them. Every single one of them is new now.
Yeah.
So now I feel confused and stuck that he's not a space entity. Now he might be a deity. Now he's a time traveler. It's really, it's Marvel Universe. It's Marvel Extended Universe, which I don't know if I signed up for with this story. And so I think I have to grieve. I have to grieve the new data.
Yeah. I mean, part of me wonders how this actually plays out in the episodes that to come. Like, because part of us are like rolling our eyes at this final conversation between Marge and Lily at the very end of the show, where she's like, what if he can go back in time and kill our parents? And then Lily's just like, well, that's their battle. Lily is just like, I don't give a shit. There's nothing I can do about that. Bye.
She's over it.
But like in the actual like beat to beat of what the 1935 plotline is going to look like, how much of that is going to actually matter? Because what that looks like in execution in 1935 is Pennywise trying to hunt and kill kids, which is what he was going to do anyway, right? So like I think this is silly on the outside, but maybe the minute to minute of it is actually ultimately just fine. I mean, that's kind of how I felt about a lot of this episode and this season. Is like the overarching like military plot to me was so stupid and so ridiculous and so cringy and eye-rolly, but like the beat to beat of like Leroy and his conflict with his wife and his conflict with Dick and like how all these things actually played out within the silliness of that story could at times be pretty good. So maybe ultimately that's where the future seasons land us as well.
I think you are right. And that's a really good point to keep in mind, that ultimately they're going to make the wrapping paper real glitzy and sparkly, and it's not going to matter. The core foundation that we're struggling with right now, once it's in the show format, and we could see that they can create a very entertaining, they know how to pick actors, they know how to move the pace. They do that very, very well. So I think you're right. I think it'll probably be fine, and they're just going to make it entertaining. But we just have to not think a lot.
Yeah, you just have to yada yada through all the plot stuff. And it's just, there's so much plot stuff.
Yeah.
And like, this is actually, I think, where a lot of Stephen King adaptations fall into a trap, honestly, is like trying to wind your way around getting this idea onto film, when really, like, the thing that's good about Stephen King stories is the characters, and like the story is always better than like the plot, that like the basic plot of it all. And he just so often dodges these kind of absurd, overplotted things. And his weakest books, by the way, are the ones that fall into the trap of kind of overplotting it. I'm looking at you, Insomnia, looking at you, Tommy Knockers. Like, these are books that just like
never flinch.
Exactly. Thank you. That just kind of get lost in the plot a little bit. And so I think that's a lot of mistake that adapters sometimes do. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that here. Ultimately, it's like, I've sure whatevered my way to the end of my sure whatever rope. And I can't do it no more.
I can't go no further. Yes, and that's what, it really is mind-boggling for me. I understand being a filmmaker is, I don't know enough about film. I'm sure it's very challenging and very different from the writing process by itself. There's probably way more things to consider. But what breaks my heart is that Stephen King is simplistically, in one sentence, is a character writer. Yeah. So if you are going to adapt anything, that is step one. That is step one. Honor his characters. And you know who does that beautifully? Mike Flanagan and Frank Darabont and Rob Reiner. They understand you start with the characters and you honor them in everything you do. Every move you make has to augment their journeys, has to improve their path. And so if you do that, you've won. And that's what we did the exact opposite of in this show. They didn't care about characters, they cared about plot.
And it's the frustrating part is it sometimes was there, right? I mean, we have some characters that I quite enjoyed. And I think, you know, you can listen to us talk in the early episodes and how excited we were about characters like Charlotte and Leroy and the things that we felt they were setting up there. I feel so sad for a fictional character, but I feel like the character of Charlotte just got reduced to almost nothing by the end of this story. That like she was like, I will say I really do like the moment of this episode where she finds out that Will has been taken and just like beats the ever living shit out of Leroy. That was very cathartic. I enjoyed seeing that. But I feel like they did such a good job of establishing her as this incredibly strong-willed, intelligent, capable character, and they just gave her nothing to do in the end. Just absolutely nothing to do.
Totally, absolutely. We had these characters that started to burn bright. They started to really, really entice us. And the performances were great. They did choose great people. So that was very exciting. And then it all fizzled. It fizzled because the plot sucked all the air out.
Yeah, because we have to spend all this time and effort in these episodes of making sure we understand these A to B to B to C to C to Z moments that we don't have time for just the quiet character beats. Like, I think a perfect example of this, and we're jumping all around in this episode, and I think that's what happens in finale sometimes, so that's okay. The moment where Leroy is shot, he gives the dagger to Will and says, like, Will, you got to go do this. And it's like, it's actually, once again, show a beautifully filmed and emotional moment in the moment of Will looking at his dad and saying, Dad, I can't do this. I'm scared. I'm not like you. And Leroy gives this wonderful speech that's like, I don't want you to be like me. You're you. I want you to be you. And these are great things in a show where their continuing conflict as father and son circled around this central idea that Will was very different from his father, and they weren't seeing eye to eye because Leroy had an expectation of what he wanted a young man in 1962 to be, and his son was not that. And like, these are things that the show set up, right? Like the one of the defining things is that he gets him the telescope and didn't really understand it. And then we have the moment of the fishing where he takes his son fishing, and this is just not a thing that Will Hanlon is going to be very interested in. But then the show like abandoned it entirely. And it didn't come back until that one final moment that's supposed to be this cathartic arc completing moment for him of realizing that like, no, I don't want you to be like me. I don't want you to be like this. All I want you to be is you, son. That wasn't what their story was about in the show, though. Like, it just wasn't.
I love them so much. You know, I love that moment. I treasure it. But you're right, it doesn't hit as hard because I as I'm listening to them speak, I was like, wait a minute, what? They had that one fight a couple episodes ago, but this is not.
But that fight a couple episodes ago where he slaps him, that is not about, I want you to be this and you're this. That's honestly what that's about is Will kind of trying to be his dad in that moment. And his dad pushing against that and saying it pains me to think if you made this a through line through all 8 of your episodes, then this would be a really cathartic moment of like, oh my God, I was wrong. And I've been it doesn't happen though. It just doesn't happen because there's no time for it. There's absolutely no time for it in the show.
No time. I treasured the morsels we got, the crumbs. I loved it because I love the Hanlons in whatever form they take so much. So it was touching, but it didn't linger for long because I had so many problems with there wasn't time. There wasn't time or runway for that.
Yeah.
Sad.
I think I feel a similar thing about Ronnie Grogan. Who is another character I feel like the show kind of abandons. Like, okay, so her as a member of this group of 5, I think works, but her like as an individual, I feel like she got a little reduced to just the one that cries about her dad and trying to get him free, and that's like all. Like, I mean, can you tell me one characteristic of Ronnie Grogan without mentioning her father?
The mom thing was freaky, and she feels sort of guilt about maybe killing her mom, but that's all I got.
Okay, sure. That's true. That's fair. I can't.
Good. She's a good screamer.
Yeah, I just feel like she got a little a little like, I mean, and she has a relationship with Will, which again just is kind of,
Oh, I forgot about that.
is technically there, right? It is technically
Right.
there. But we see, I feel like we see so little of it, or it's so foreground or backgrounded at times. It just feels like, okay. I mean, maybe this is just personal bias coming through. It feels like the show became Marge's show at some point, and I don't even think I was conscious of that happening. but maybe it's part of it as the writers just responding to how gifted of an actress this woman who plays Marge is. And maybe it's just show just responding to that. Although arguably, like, if the plan was always that she was going to be Margaret Tozier, like they were always going to build to that moment. But man, it felt like she kind of took over at some point.
Yes, accurate. I don't think I realized that, but now that you formed, yeah, oh, 100%. And that's sad because everybody else fell to the back.
And and part of it is me responding to, I think she has like the most complete arc. And part of that arc is she gets a face turn. And so it is always kind of a cheat code to put like a turn of heart into a character's arc, because it's ready and easily digestible. This was someone I didn't like, and now I like them. That's an arc. It's easy to do and it's apparent. And so that's why it works. But I mean, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I really did. Like, I think she's great. And I love going back and listening to our episodes, just how much we hated Marge at the beginning, and then how we feel about her by the end of the thing.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the ride they took us on with that character. Mm-hmm. I like how she bloomed, and once her eye got messed up, she was just a little angel, and we were on board. And then she just became extraordinary. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't hate that journey, but it's sad that others didn't get the same spotlight after that happened.
Yeah. How are you feeling about Lily at the end of this whole thing?
I really like when Lily has her moment with her dad's headstone. I thought that was great. And my assumption is that taking away the dragon glass ring of power made her normal again. And or just going through this experience with her friends created that arc where she could be in a more emotionally stable place to talk to her dad's headstone. So I liked that a lot. I thought that was strong. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's all we got. That's our one moment with Lily.
Yeah. I mean, she was kind of built in my mind as like the lead of the show in a lot of ways, right? Like, and I feel like she did get a little backgrounded there. I agree with you. Like, I'm very happy that we gave her a break. Like, I think last week we were talking about maybe that her end is her in Juniper Hill getting a lobotomy. And so, like, I'm very happy that we gave her finally 8 episodes in, she gets to not have terrible things happen to her. So I appreciated that we gave her a break. And we did get that one little moment with her father. Yeah, I liked that too. I mean, my favorite part in the whole episode though was when she's like holding the dagger, and all of a sudden you hear like Smirker. I can't believe it's just the Ring of Power. I was kind of joking about that when we said it, but holy shit, did they lean into that?
You like how she went full Boromir?
That was nuts. I mean, and like this is part of what I mean about the plot machination stuff, though, is that like not only now we have to say, yeah, okay, so the shard, it's like the further it gets away from, as you know, Kim, as you know, everything that's away from its home like really wants to get back to its home. We all know this, right? And so that it's going to totally do that, and it's going to like mess with your minds. And the further away it gets from the Niebolt Street house, the more it's going to mess with your mind. Okay. And then it does that. And then also like it's like the closer it gets to its maximum point away, the stronger it's going to be. And this is sometimes like you just look at how subtly and wonderfully the corruption of the Ring of Power is in both the Lord of the Rings novel and movie. and just like the ways in which we demonstrate that corruption on people and the moments at Mount Doom and how those people finally fall to the power of the ring itself and the tragedy of that. And in this show, this unsubtle show, it's just, you can't put thing in ground. It just won't let you. It's too like you can't push hard enough to put thing in ground. And it's just like all the subtlety of that is just blown away. And it's just push harder, push a thing in ground hard. Do.
This dagger thing really got my goat, Scott. I hate it so much.
So ridiculous. It's just like, it's just, again, one thing too much in,
Yep.
And like you can kind of see how, like, I really think like part of this is just them trying to solve a problem of like, we want to create these scenes and these moments. Cause again, this is a moment of the five of them teaming together versus Pennywise. And we need them to be doing something. What can they be doing? And it's like, okay, we need to put something in their hands, their collective hands. And it's like, okay, what is that thing? And like, it feels like working backwards from this idea. And then we get all this stuff. And the second we introduce this thing, now we have to build rules around it. And that bogs down everything, where we have to define it. And then we have Rose like showing everyone a map of the town and saying like, the maximum point that this thing can go away for the shield to still work is this point right here, where there happens to be a spooky tree there. Perfect. And it's like this in my head. Once again, I'm like, how do you know the maximum range of the shard? How do you know that? Did you what? How, like, did they do tests? How did they do tests with that? Did they like bring the shard, like bring Pennywise and then bring the shard away? Like, oh, no, he ate you. Okay, that was it was too far. Move it back.
Whoops. First of all, Scott, we needed that damn map like 5 episodes ago. I needed to see that graph in episode 3. And I can't, finally we get a visual that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Too little, too late. And that,
yeah. Why did they feel like that would ruin anything by showing us that? I don't know.
Right. And now we got to worry about the dead pine, the Sleepy Hollow tree.
You know, the earth is conductive, Kim. We all know this.
You're right. I forgot.
We're very lucky that the maximum range of the dagger was not in the middle of the river, because that would have been pretty inconvenient.
You're right. How on earth did they test this? How on earth?
They didn't.
No science allowed. No science allowed in this show, unfortunately.
But okay, this is like, again, I think we're quibbling and I'm kind of being an asshole about this. But there's so much talking in this show about how these things work and the rules of these things and the limitations of these things and the powers and what they do and what they can't do and what they will do, that it is almost priming you to ask questions like that. Like if you're gonna pull out a map and show me that, like, well, the maximum range of this thing is this and this and this, and here's what you can do, and this is the point that you have to get to right away, and or the triangulation, it won't work, then I'm gonna be asking questions like, well, wait a minute, why?
Did you test this theory? Has it been peer reviewed?
Yeah.
No, I know. No, you're not allowed to ask questions, and that's the sad part. It's a sad part,
Mm-hmm.
and what's sad is the people who love the show get mad when you ask these questions. But guys, you should be asking them too, and you should be asking why the writers did not provide this information to you. It's okay to suspend everything, but everything all the time for 8 episodes forever? Okay, yeah. That's not gonna help.
Or make a show in which it's clear that the specifics of that don't matter. To go back to Lord of the Rings, because the show is inviting connections to Lord of the Rings by making this dagger essentially the ring. Nobody's sitting there critiquing the Lord of the Rings and saying, well, how does Gandalf do that magic and not any other magic? What's like? And it's because it has created a world in which the specificity of that kind of stuff is unimportant, because Gandalf is not opening a map and saying like, well, my power range is here, but if the Balrog goes over here, then I can't it's out of my range. That invites you to start going, well, wait a minute. How does your power work then? So like, I mean, this is like, it's kind of a trap of their own making. And so like, I would push against anyone saying, you need to stop asking these questions. You're being too picky and critical. Like I don't ask these questions about a lot of things I watch, but I do when the show kind of pushes me into a place where I want to.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think that if you're not asking these questions, you should join us. And not to be cynical or critical, but help the show do better. Help the writers be smarter.
Yeah.
And more efficient and effective with how they present this story.
Yeah. How did you feel about Dick Halloran in this one? Did you feel like this was a sufficient and fair end for Halloran's character in the show?
I do. I love Dick so much. And he had moments in this episode that I just laughed so much, Scott, because he's just... one moment in particular is when he's at Rose's house and everyone's talking about Dick right in front of him. And he's just like, listen, y'all, you want me to find your stupid dagger? Like, I'm dying here.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so hilarious. And then later on, when we have this very strange, I don't know how well it's executed, we could talk about it, his trap for Pennywise. But I just love how Pennywise like kicks him out of the cart and he's like, I'm not Bob. I don't know why. I just thought that was great. I do feel that this is a fitting farewell to such a beloved character. And Dick was so strong because he's already established.
Yeah.
We know his story. Nothing about his story was made up for the most part. Everything was already there.
Yeah.
He's got the shine. He sees it does people. So all they did was like plug and play with that. So I feel that's why Dick was super strong, because he was just pure king. He's a pure king character and they didn't really tweak anything. They didn't mess it up, I don't think. So I feel it was low hanging fruit about the hotel, but I don't care. It was great. It was charming. I love Chris Chalk. I think he did a phenomenal job. I liked that he gets this. It's very brief, but it moved me. And when he sees Rich and the camera looks at his face, and there's like comfort there. And it was great. I love every frame that Dick Halloran is in. So I felt like this was nice. This was a nice farewell. And I'm happy that Maturin T helped him out a little bit.
Yeah. Our literal Deus Ex Machina tea solved his problem. I thought that was great. By the way, I really love the shot where he first drinks the tea and we zoom into his eye, and then when we leave the vision, we come out of his mouth in this like really, really fascinating repetitive shot of his mouth as we pull backwards. I thought all that was really good. So you mentioned the Pennywise trap part. I actually really like it. I think so. Here's this is kind of a tangent, but not really. I'm kind of getting bored of Pennywise.
Yeah,
because
I can see that.
Because like I want to be clear here. I think the performance is stupendous, right? I think Skarsgård is doing an amazing job with this character. Like I enjoy him, but like you're playing that note so many times that eventually I'm going to get a little bored of the note. But I thought the moment that Pennywise was the most interesting to me in this episode was when he was trapped in Dick's little tricky trap. Because like we're seeing some of his vulnerabilities, right? We're seeing he has such a strong reaction to being called Bob Gray. He has such a strong reaction to being seen and perceived as lesser than he actually is. That was a little character revealing there in a way that I don't think much of the show did up until that point. And I actually really enjoyed that.
Oh, you've helped me quite a bit because I was confused. I really was. I was probably just overthinking it because it didn't, we see Pennywise freeze on the ice and it's very awkward. And then we somehow go to that 1908 flashback, and then Bob is like drunkenly, he's all disoriented. And then I think I was confused. And it's not until he kicks him in the gut and he flies out, which I thought was a very cool way to exit that scene. Because like you said, he got really mad. So this actually helps me a great deal because I think I was overthinking of like, if it's Galoo, why is he reacting that way?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you are an eater of worlds. Why do you, I was spinning out at that point.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say, while I liked the moment itself, I do think, again, like, I thought it was very weird that we froze Pennywise again in like the same exact position he was frozen when he charged towards Lily.
Yep.
And the dagger stopped him. It's like almost as if they just like really enjoyed that CG effect, and so they were like, "We're gonna use it again. We're gonna use it again right here." So I actually think I struggled with this the first time I watched it because I think I was as confused as you. On my first watch, I did not really pick up. They do kind of lay the seeds of this. They say like, you know, I think it's Leroy that says, you know, Will said he got into this thing's brain before, maybe he could do it again. And so they lay the seeds for that. And then when Pennywise does freeze and we like slowly zoom in on his eye, I think in a similar way that they did when Dick was going on his journey. And so the seed work is laid there for you to understand almost immediately that this vision that we're seeing is Dick fucking with him. But I did not get that the first time I watched it. And I was very confused because I was like, it felt to me like I was almost like, are we just going to not acknowledge why Pennywise just froze in the middle of attacking someone? Like, what are we doing? So I do feel like, again, on a rewatch, this all becomes very clear and I think it's fine. But I do feel like maybe, just maybe, the amount of time that passes between the initial freezing and Marge going free and the reveal that this is a trick created by Dick to stop him, maybe too much time passes between those two things. And maybe connecting them closer together and more quickly together suspends a little bit of that confusion, just a little bit.
Yeah, because the last we see Dick, he's laying in the van. Yeah. And we don't see him for a while. And then Pennywise freezes, and so I kind of lost the connection that he was trying to do something.
Also, I think it would be fair to misunderstand that me trapping you in your own mind briefly causes you to like quite literally freeze in place mid-jump in real life. Like, I don't think that's a connection that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Again, I think they just really liked the one shot of his teeth out and he was frozen, and they really liked that computer effect, and they said, we got to use this again. This is a perfect place to use it again. And so they did. But I think that creates more confusion. Also, the other reason why this happens specifically this way is because they wanted to build to the moment where Shaw stupidly walks up to him and is talking to him. And then, of course, he gets released from the trap right in front of Shaw. They wanted to build to that moment, and those moments were too far apart, and they had a lot of things they needed to do in between them. And so it naturally kind of stretched it out a little bit more. I don't think that's a huge complaint of mine, but I definitely like it took another rewatch before I was like, oh, I fully understand what they were doing here and how they set it up and made it clear. I just missed the connecting beats on my first watch.
I think I've missed the beats 3 times. So, because I did observe the seeds you mentioned, like I did, but something happened. So I'll go back and have a closer look for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I do think it was a little weird. But I mean, I love that Dick tried that. I love the moment where he like is kicked out of it and he's laying on the ice and just saying, sorry, I tried. Yeah. And yeah, I agree with you. I think it is a little bit of a cheeky fan service for Dick to say he's going to take a job in London cooking for a hotel. And it's like, how much trouble could I get into? It's just a hotel. and then the camera like turns towards you, the audience, and says, do you see the reference? It's The Shining. Do you get it?
Got it?
It was really weird that the show did that and just started talking directly to us, but it did. So yeah, I mean, I liked everything he did in the finale. I think it gave him a role, and I agree with you. The moment where he sees the ghost of Rich kind of run in, and Rose is like, "What do you see?" and he gets to like a miracle. I loved all that.
Me too. Again, Don't care if it was saccharine. Don't care. I was like, this is amazing. I'm all aboard.
Yeah.
I love this so much. It was so precious. And that little Rich was with War Chief Susky. I was like, this is amazing. I don't know. It got me. I was very pleased.
Presumably,
that's my favorite moment.
Presumably the War Chief is who led the soul of Rich to that moment, right? To go help his friends. Yeah.
I love it so much.
And then I like that we get to see him again at the funeral, and Dick gets that moment with Rich's parents, which I don't know. I love the moment. I think it's great. I also can't help but think, like, if you're sitting at your son's funeral mourning him and some stranger walks up to you and goes like, hey, you feel that arm on your shoulder? That's your boy. He's there. He'll always be there. And then you go, thanks, who are you? And he goes, still trying to figure that out. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on? Call the police.
Sadly, it would not go over well. It would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was so
it is a great moment, though. It is a great moment. Yeah. I think the show did not let Dick Halloran down, which is one of the biggest compliments I can get it, because I was very worried we would. Yeah.
Samesies. I am so glad that they're like, all right, we got Dick's story down. Don't touch it. Don't break it. Don't mess with it too much. And they didn't. They just naturally enhanced what we already knew. And then they kind of put him in this cool new spot. We already knew he was in Derry. Yeah, I'm immensely pleased.
How'd you feel about General Shaw and his inevitable end?
Yay, about time, you loser. I'm super over you. I'm sad because he was kind of cool for a hot minute there. He had some complexity that made me excited as the viewer, because I thought he was just going to be a mean insert generic army general, or Air Force general. And then they did some nice things with Rose, and then it just fizzled and he went back to that cookie cutter archetype. And I'm like, all right, well, we're done. And then death to you. Bye.
Yeah. I enjoyed the moment. I thought it was good. I wish we had gotten a Rose scene with him. You know, that's like, it's things like these that I feel like we set up this guy who was more than just like a token evil guy. And then we set him up having this. I mean, we talked about this in the episode. We were so excited about this. We got really into this idea, and then that we just kind of leave this dangling at the end as well, because we turned him into a cartoon villain, and therefore a cartoon villain does not need one final moment of catharsis or anti-catharsis with his former love. They don't need that, and so we're not going to do it. And so part of me's like, oh man. Like, I think you can still make him the bad guy and ultimately wrong and ultimately get killed by Pennywise without completely jumping shark like that.
I thought it wouldn't go as fast as it did. It happens very fast.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I understand the whole episode is very fast. So I get it. It's okay. But yeah, it would have really won me over if we did have a Rose moment. That I would have been impressed. I would have given some props to the writers for that. But we didn't, because he just slunk back into, fizzled. What a disappointment.
Yeah.
I am very disappointed that we started to get something cool and then they did not deliver on that.
He's got to be one of the dumbest characters in the show, right?
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever in the history of ever.
I do appreciate that, like, in the successful completion of, like, the thing that was the most important mission on his mind, to literally save the heart and soul of America, he took, like, 6 guys with him to the river. There was not a lot of people there.
Nope, not the battalion you might have needed.
I mean, there were a few enough that, like, 3 black men and 1 Native woman can beat the shit out of the rest of them, right? Which, by the way, found very cathartic. Enjoyed that. I think the imagery of that is great. Again, these three black men, this Native woman, stand up to the U.S. Air Force officials and really just overwhelm, beat the shit out of them. That was nice. I liked that.
Same.
But man, yeah, I would have brought, like, I don't know, 100.
Right? Here you are. You've got all these dig sites and teams, and you sent like 1,000 soldiers into the sewers. And now you bring 6 to the actual spot where you know where Galoo is, you know where the entity is. He's there, and you bring 6 dudes.
Yeah.
Okay. Make it make sense. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm jumping all over the place. Where do you want to go from here?
I want to talk about the CGI since we're talking about the ice and two ice parts. One, I really like when we kind of see when Leroy breaks with the military. We actually see it on his face. We've got some good Leroy moments in this episode. One is Leroy and the phone, where that poor rotary handset got
my God.
destroyed.
He destroyed that.
He did. I love those old phones. I was sad about that. But Leroy, like, he's a believer at the end of that phone call. And then when he's on the ice, and then that one general, we don't know his name, or he's not a general, whatever rank
Colonel,
he is.
I think. I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you. Colonel, mystery colonel. And he says, this man's a traitor.
Yeah.
And there's just silence, and it's Leroy's face, and you can hear the crack, like almost, you could see he is done forever. There's no more allegiance to America, like he's done. And so I love that. And I don't know how they did that, but it worked. It's just pure actor performance.
Yeah.
So I really like that. But then, since we're on the ice, all of the CGI we have in this episode was my favorite of the entire show. I felt like it was actually cool.
I think it helps that there's like this this fog over everything, and
that does help.
And fog does a really good job of hiding kind of the not meshing of the CG to the real backgrounds. It does a really good job of hiding that. But I think I agree with you generally. I mean, I thought the bat at the end looked really cool. Okay, so I don't understand why after the shard has been stuck into the ground and Pennywise is thrown back, why his face does that thing where it like slowly peels back all the different versions of the scary things he's been throughout the season before going back to the Pennywise face, and then he gets sucked away. I don't really understand why that happened, but it looked cool.
Right? I agree. There's zero logical reason for it happening. I don't unless like the blast is resetting him to factory settings or something. I don't know. Cause yeah, I felt, I like what, I guess, giving a little bit of credit to It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, which you won't hear me do often. But I do like that they have that zero gravity blood effect. Mm-hmm. So his blood floats all the time. And that's how you know it's him.
Yeah.
Is it always floats up. And I've grown to really like it over the years. Mm-hmm. And so we've got a bunch of it here. And so the masks and the gooey face being stripped off, it does that too with that zero gravity effect. Yeah. So I dug it, and I think you're right. The fog and the gray sort of smooths it out a little bit, because all the CGI I saw, I was like, okay, this was cool. I enjoyed this.
I do think nobody acts like they're on ice for most of the episode. That
killed me.
That van, like, it's plowing right into them and then stopping on a dime. Like, I was like, ooh, they're dead. You're on ice.
It would have killed them all. I mean, I don't know if ABS braking was engaged, but it would not have stopped like that. The only people who slipped, because I was watching, because it was actually something that made me very angry, that nobody was cold, no one was slipping. Hank Grogan is the only one who slips.
I did see that, yeah.
And Little Rich when he's running.
The ghost! The only one that slides on the ice is the fucking ghost.
Exactly.
And he does a cool, like, risky business slide. It's great. It's perfect. But it's, yeah, I mean, ultimately I don't care. And like, it's like, but it's something that stuck out to me. The other thing that I could not stop thinking about is all the children floating above the ice. And the second the spell is broken and they all drop 6 feet to the ground. I'm just like, the entire 9th grade class has broken ankles now. They're just fucked up.
Totally. concussions, broken legs. Oh my gosh.
Also, this is one of those things where like you're not meant to think about this, but all I could think about was when all the adults just like go to the North Bank, and they just send all these children. It's like, and none of them go with the children. There's no escorts. They just send an entire high school full of 9th and 10th graders, just like go to the North Bank and just, stay there.
Figure it out, y'all. Bye.
We got to stay here and do this stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It was, I'm trying to be nicer about it. The more times I watch it, the better I feel about our second act and all the ice stuff. And visually, it's very cool. I'm very pleased I got my bird, Scott. I don't care if it's a bat, dragon, bird. I got my bird.
You got 2 birds because Richie flips one at Pennywise, too.
I got a little bird from a precious ghost. But yeah, no, I got my bird.
I mean, there is, again, part of me that's just like, you could have just set this at wintertime, maybe, and then you wouldn't need this magical ice and fog to come out of nowhere just from Pennywise powers or whatever. Because it is supposed to be the middle of summer, I think, still. And I mean, the thing we don't see is that as soon as Pennywise is locked back away and defeated, that presumably all that's going to melt, right? They better get off that ice real quick.
Right, because Leroy is dead lit. He gets blasted, and then he comes out of it when Pennywise gets blasted. And so I'm assuming the river is quickly next. Like, it's going to thaw quickly.
Hopefully, hopefully all those children got to the North Bank before it thawed.
Can you imagine if they just there was a mass drowning? It's kind of like, just, oh man, where did they drowned in the Penobscot.
Yeah, well, we know the native tribe would just sit around the coffee table and be like, well, what are you going to do?
Oh, God, kill me. The poor Scott. I'm sorry, native actors. I'm sorry.
We did not talk about Taniel is he gets got in this one.
Oh, R.I.P. Taniel. I'm sorry.
That was really sad.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't really get a lot of characterization of him, but I felt for him through Rose.
That was. I also liked how Leroy was there with him in those final moments. We had some nice moments for sure, but I also love that scene in general, Scott, because they get on the ice with the van, they reunite with the kids, all the kids get it, and then Leroy and Taniel start heading toward the tree, and then the gunfire. And then so much happens after those gunshots because Will flies out of the van, the girls chase after him, everybody's moving. Every single actor is out of the car and moving. And it was just a very cool execution of movement. Yeah. And then everybody gets out, and then they're being shot at, they're slipping and running. And so it was a very cool, chaotic adrenaline moment. I liked it.
I agree. I mean, I think like, again, like the actual execution of all this stuff I thought was pretty largely successful. It's just I can't get out of my own way with some of my problems with the setup to get there. Because I mean, I think this is it overall was a pretty exciting finale. And like I think most of the emotional beats of the characters worked on me. Most.
Yeah, I'm focusing on all the good things, but I'm with you. I am right next to you on the bench of why and so many problems. But yeah, when I hyper focus on performances and the movement and the speed of things, and it was cool. It was kind of like our Black Spot Fire where it was that orchestrated chaos. I feel they did that well continuously throughout the show, those orchestrated chaos moments.
Yeah. I really liked the funeral scene as well. We already talked about Dick and Rich's role in it. We have not talked about Marge's speech at the funeral, which was like really fantastically well written. Like, man, some of the best written stuff in the whole show.
What a talented writer who wrote that monologue.
I don't know. They should have gotten him to write the whole show. the joke here, folks, is that whole speech she has about maybe there aren't such things as good friends or bad friends. Maybe they're just friends. That is all like a direct lift from it. It's like one of my favorite quotes from the book. I love the imagery of people who build their houses in your heart. Like I love that. And I think like joking aside, I thought it was very clever the way they found a way to work that into the story in a way that felt natural and real and rose to the emotional level of the scene that they put it in. I thought it was really good.
Same. I think it worked so well at the funeral, and just the power of the quote and where it is in the book and how special it is. And yes, it won me over. I loved it.
You know what it made me want to do? It made me want to go read it again. I don't have time. I have so many other books I have to read, but I'm like looking at it on my bookshelf going, maybe it's time for another one.
Oh, I'll do it with you. But yes, oh my gosh, if there is anybody out there who hasn't read the novel yet and you're listening, well, this is your sign, little cupcake. This is for you. You need to read it, especially if you found yourself gravitating toward the Hanlon family, because the Hanlons are very integral to the story. They might be, I don't know, essential to it. And so I highly encourage, if you are interested, to pursue the novel as soon as possible. Also, if you don't have time for the brick and mortar text, it's one of the greatest audiobooks you'll ever listen to.
It's so good. Yep. That's Weber, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great book. Yeah, I mean, like overall, you know, we talked about how I struggle with this story sometimes, the good and the bad and everything in between. I think one of the coolest things that I'm seeing happen is just from the popularity and kind of universal acclaim that this thing has had, is there are a lot of people reaching out to the novel for the first time. I know this definitely happened when chapter 1 came out and became like one of the most successful rated R things ever at the time. And it was really exciting then, even though like I enjoyed the movie for what it was, but of course loved the book more. That we're kind of seeing it happen here again, where there are people that are just like really, really, really into this show and are like, I need more. And people are like, well, there's this 1,100 page book. If you're wanting to get like more macroverse deep dive into the true origin of Pennywise the clown, probably gonna be left a little disappointed. But if you just want to see more of this world and these kind of ideas, like you cannot go wrong with that novel. Like you just can't. It's my favorite book ever, and it's one of the greatest novels of all time.
Facts, straight facts.
Yeah, and simply put, like the best rumination on childhood and friendship that I've ever read. Maybe that might be a bull.
Yeah.
I might need to check that before I say that definitively, but it feels right as I say it.
Yeah, no, I don't think it has an equal.
Yeah.
I don't think it can be topped 100%. Scott, I did have a question. I maybe am just really, really late to this party and everybody else knew it was happening, but I wasn't paying attention to it. Very possible. Okay. So do you feel like Pennywise, and maybe he's, like I said, this has always been happening for decades and I just wasn't paying attention. Is he like our Hollywood franchise monsters? Your Freddy Krueger, your Mike Myers, your Jason Voorhees, Ghostface. Is that where we're going with this 2.0 franchise? That's what Pennywise is.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we were maybe 3/4 of the way there after the popularity of the 2017 movie, where like you started seeing, like when you're talking about horror movie monsters, you're starting to see the Skarsgård Pennywise put up there with Ghostface and Freddy and stuff like that. I think the expansion of the universe through this show has just cemented that for me, that this is like, and like, it's interesting because like, I am not like, I like Halloween a lot. I enjoy the Friday the 13th movies. I enjoy the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but none of those characters are precious to me at all. And so like, I like shrug and laugh at like Freddy versus Jason and like the absolute silliness that some of these franchises got to over their long history through the 80s. And I was like along for the ride for every single one of them. And so I can put myself in a place where I see people feel the same way about Pennywise and It and this universe, and are just like, yeah, sure, whatever, this is cool. Maybe one day we'll see Pennywise in space. I can't stand that, and it's because this book is so important to me, and it's not even a book about the clown, really. So like, but that's the same thing too. If you look at if you look at like Halloween, like nobody gives a shit about Michael Myers. I mean, you do a little bit, but it's like Michael Myers was a vessel to convey a point and tell a story, and it's just like when you keep plumbing this well and going back to it, you expand the mythology, and these characters become the most important things about them. And that's absolutely what's happening here. I mean, especially in a 3-season series in which the only constant is going to be Pennywise, that the cast is going to change every season. Like, that's just going to happen. It's just essentially we're doing like Pennywise X in a few decades.
Right. Oh, my heart sank right as you said that. Because I'm with you. I'm with you, Scott. I think that's a perfect way of phrasing it. He is precious to me because I adore this novel more than any other novel. It's a top 5 book of all time for me. And Pennywise means a lot. Because, like you said, it's not even really about the clown, but it's his role in the novel, and it's his role in the characters' lives, and even the ones that we have in this new show, even though it wasn't as successful as we would have liked in certain areas, like it was still very meaningful because of what it all represents. And we know the heart of the story that hopefully they try and get to, kind of, sort of. They ramshackle their way there. But yeah, I think that's where I am having a hard time with you, is I was perfectly content keeping Pennywise in the cosmic I don't know bucket. And now we don't have that anymore. We're forced to go to crazy places now with kryptonite, dragonglass, and time travel. And it's like, oh God, okay, all right.
And that one thing that Muschietti said in the after the episode thing. What did he say? He's a god who was banished.
Yeah, we're doing Dark Angels now.
Yeah.
He said he was a deity who was punished and cast to earth. It's like paraphrased.
Yeah. Which I think is just going to continue to be where we're going with this. Like, I think that's going to rear its head in later seasons. I think more definitively and directly, outside just a director mentioning it in a post credits little behind the scenes thing. I think that is the idea that's in his head, and I think he will expand and expound upon that as we go, which I don't love. I do not. But that's, it is what it is, I think.
I also do not love. Another question, I know you and I talked about this a little bit, but we got a lot of turtle stuff, but also not enough turtle stuff. And so for those who have not read the novel and who are unfamiliar with who Maturin is, do you feel like these Easter eggs, were they effective now that we've come to the end and we didn't see a lot of that?
I kind of, in the visual medium, I kind of like it just kind of exactly the way that it was handled in these movies and this show, where it's just really an Easter egg for people paying attention to it, like the charm on the bracelet, the Bert the turtle. I mean, even the Maturin root and the children of Maturin, which by the way, the show is over now. Still never called themselves the children of Maturin.
What in the hell?
Damn it, Rose. But I do think it works primarily there because, like, I mean, here's the thing about the novel is that sequence during the ritual of Chud, where, Bill comes in literal contact with the turtle, like, that's crazy shit, man. I don't get me wrong. I love it. I love it for how crazy shit it is, but it's crazy shit. And I don't know if there's a way to do that correctly in the visual medium that doesn't come off just extremely hokey and cheesy. And so I think just leaving it as this like kind of on the edge, on the borders thing that the people who are aware of the story can enjoy, but doesn't really play like a central role in how the story unfolds, I think I'm ultimately fine with that.
I like that. I think that works too. I think I love Maturin so much, and I forget that it's absolute Looney Tunes in the novel. You're very correct. It is wild times when we learned about Maturin. I think I was just super excited because it's almost like I think this is an appropriate comparison. I'm freshly from Song of Susanna when Mia and Susanna are in New York City, and there's the turtle toy they have, the little porcelain, and so
this gold pata.
I feel like that in the show. I'm like, the turtle. I feel very, very into it this season of the show,
sure.
because it feels very special Easter egg, and I was hoping that we would get. I'm glad we had the healing tea that helped Dick. I was thrilled that we had some Maturin root. I'll take it. I'll take whatever we got. But I wish we would have had a little more. But like you said, it's also okay. It's okay.
Yeah. If we're going to reference the turtle directly, I hope it is revealed that was actually his poop and Dick just drank some poop tea. Look, if Pennywise discharge can make people behave badly, then Maturin discharge can black out the bad voices.
Maturin dehydrated fecal matter. Oh man. Yeah, I wouldn't complain then if we
So we get to see Richie's airplane not on Main Street, but caught in a tree.
You were so close, Scott.
I was so close. I not to be a dick, but like I like the idea of Marge picking up that beat from him better than I like the idea of her just seeing it in the tree and have a moment of remembrance. So I liked my better is what I'm getting at. But I still like that we returned to the beat. I think was satisfying.
Super cute. Loved it.
One of the big questions I had was why did Leroy and Charlotte stay in Derry? And the show answered that question. Did you find the answer the answer satisfying?
I did. It tracked really nicely, actually, because one thing I appreciated is we've seen Charlotte and Leroy pretty divided on their principles the entire season. We know that Charlotte's a fierce advocate for social justice, and then Leroy is devoted to his country. And I don't know so much, like you said, I think we sort of lost some Charlotte magic along the show. We didn't get as much development, but she's always been a fierce fighter. And then now I feel Leroy and her are more aligned with purpose now, because Rose says you can take up the mantle to protect, and it's both of them. Mm-hmm. Both of you can make the stand for 27 years and protect the town. Now that you've seen it, you're both on the same page now in this mission, in this dual purpose. And I was like, oh, that works so well. It seems like this would be a real nice coming together for the two of them, because they've been so divided in their value system. And now Leroy's very different in theory. We don't exactly have that. I bought it. I feel like he's changed after this experience with the
Yeah, I mean,
military.
He's lost, right? Like he had his thing, which was the military, and that was his thing, and that was the thing he devoted his entire life and his career and his belief system to, and he's had that stripped out from under him, and so he's kind of lost and trying to figure out where is his place and what is his purpose, and I guess I agree with you, by the way. I think this ultimately works. I guess my one complaint would be, if I needed to have one, would be like, I don't think Charlotte got lost. I think Charlotte kind of knew who she was from the very beginning, and it's kind of this thing where like, Lee, you don't know what you're going to do next. I know what I want to do next. Okay, so we're going to do this thing that it gives you purpose. And I mean, maybe I'm being too harsh here, but does it take purpose away from her in what she wanted to do in order to find some collective thing? I guess you could argue that like she's still going to be able to, be part of the movement from Derry, even if she's being a guard against Pennywise. Because like, I don't know, the cycle just ended. What's she going to do for the next 20 years, right? There's not going to be too much to do, I don't think.
It's true. No, I think Charlotte's going to be just fine. I think she's going to mobilize. She's going to get a community going. She's going to have a lot of active, hopefully, if there's not a ton of monstrous people, but she's got an advocate in Rose. So I think she's already building friendships, and I see her that she's going to hit the ground running personally, I think.
But she's not going to be a sheep farmer. That's for damn sure.
No, that is a classy lady. She's got to get that pencil skirt and those heels. No, the farming can be left to someone else. But I was pleased. It felt solid. It didn't feel like this was out of left field. It felt like it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I feel like they were a little whatever to the idea that in 27 years this thing is going to come back. I mean, maybe we could attempt to like headcanon it with stuff went wrong, and like they figured their son was going to be grown up, then their son has a kid, and they'll be like, well, we'll just make sure they get out of Derry before it comes back, and then of course poor Will dies in a terrible fire.
Are we is it that if you stay in Derry too long, you forget, or if you leave Derry, you forget? So maybe they just forget.
The show specifically says through Will, you know what they say, once you leave Derry, you forget, which is like, okay, Will, who says that? Because if like the people who leave, they would forget, so they can't be the one that say that. So like the only people that could say that is people that stay in Derry and call up their friends a year later, and it's like, I don't know who you are. What's going on? Which I don't think that happens either. I mean, I think my understanding was that this is just something. First of all, it's a metaphor for growing up and forgetting your childhood, right? But my understanding was this was just something that happens in and around Derry, right? If you leave Derry, you forget Derry. If you stay in Derry, you will forget for long enough. Because I think the reason why Mike Hanlon does not forget about the experiences from his youth is because he is cataloging them, and because he is the lighthouse keeper, right? That is his job, right. And that is what he's doing constantly, is cataloging and research and finding things out. And so that, but I even think, I still think in the book he mentions that like, he still has trouble remembering. Like he has to like re-reference the things he's written down to refresh his memory and remind himself of some of the stuff. So I think this is just one of the things that Pennywise's discharge does is just kind of muck with memory a little bit.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, ultimately, like I've seen a lot of people ask the question is like, why didn't Leroy tell his grandson about Pennywise? Why didn't Margaret or Marge tell Richie about any of this? And I think the answer is pretty simple. It's because they don't remember doing it. Because this is what happens. You grow up and you forget and you move on. That's just what happens.
In It Chapter 1, there is one cool moment. Mike says, my grandpa told me he thinks there's an entity here in Derry. There's something bad here. So it's vague, but we got some crumbs.
Yeah.
We got a couple morsels.
And that I think matches with this idea, this general idea that Leroy probably like has some vague recollection, some vague fear or something, but not any clear picture. Cause like, I don't know, if I'm Leroy and I remember it all, I'm not going to be like, son, I think there's some sort of creature. It's like, no, look, it's a clown. it is, and it's limited to this geographical area. Just go stand on the other side of that tree and you'll be fine. That's what I would do if I were Leroy. So I think he has forgotten some of this.
Yeah. I think that's gotta be it. Furthermore, following up on this, what do you think about the phrase, no one in Derry ever really dies? Because we kind of saw that's a good thing. We got some nice ghosts who appeared. I don't know if we've ever had a nice ghost in Derry before.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see more.
I never thought much about it other than just like it's something that when you say it, it sounds creepy. that was
Right.
its function in the story, is that's a creepy thing to say. Yeah, I don't know. I guess this is a good way of talking about the epilogue a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So our epilogue sees us back with Ingrid Kirsch, who you correctly guessed was just going to be dumped in Juniper Hill and spend presumably the rest of her days there. And so we fast forward 26 years to an old Ingrid Kirsch. By the way, I actually learned this after the fact. The woman who played her in It Chapter 2 and reprises the role here in this story actually passed away last year.
Oh no.
She got to record this scene and died not too long after it. And they like didn't have a plan for the scene and exactly where it was going to go. They just like shot it and they didn't know. And the idea of making it the connecting thing between the movies and the show a little bit later. So like I kind of rolled my eyes at it at the time, and then when I learned this background information, I appreciated it a little bit more. I don't know. What'd you think of it?
I like this info. I didn't know she passed away. So that enhances things. I did enjoy it. I love the irony of Ingrid being the head of housekeeping to a inmate, so to speak. So I liked that. I also like when we transition, older Ingrid Kirsch is painting. This looks so cool, Scott. If you zoom in, it's like a really cool painting.
Oh, I didn't
it's
actually
very
pay attention
abstract.
to the painting.
It's a clown, of course. And it's cubist, so it's very cool. I was super into it. I love surrealism. I love cubism. So I was like, this is cool. So I paused my TV to look more at the painting. It was very cool. So I enjoyed that we do see Beverly Marsh. I think I wasn't expecting the way we would see her, and that it would be a really dark, rather traumatic moment. I don't know if I remembered her mom was... Yeah, okay, I do remember her mom is gone in It Chapter 1, but I didn't know this was how it went down.
Yeah.
Maybe they said that in the film. I don't remember. But yeah, this is a dark moment, and I felt it was kind of cool. It was creepy. I also liked how our final moments with the credits are Ronnie and Hank, and it's very hopeful, and they're crossing the sign that you are leaving Derry, and then we get this sort of very meaty final scene with Beverly Marsh. And so I'm wondering, because we're not going to 1988, so is this just the bridge to the films? Like, here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I mean, I think that's why it was a post-credit thing, that we're just going to make this. We've already kind of thrown the bridge backwards to the future seasons of the show. So now we're going to just do an epilogue connection to the future or the movies. And using Ingrid to do that, I think made sense. Like, again, maybe I'm just grumpy because I got it wrong, but like I thought the connection between Marge and Richie would have been an effective way to build that bridge. I mean, Bev is not a character that has any significance in the show itself, right? So the connection here is specifically Ingrid and the Mrs. Kirsch scene that occurs in It Chapter 2, which isn't even Mrs. Kirsch at that point, because she would be over 100 years old. That is not her. She is dead. And that is just Pennywise that whole time. So I get it. I think it works. And again, especially learning that the actress passed away and this is something they filmed and could use it. I'm guessing the Bev was just very heavily de-aged with CGI, right? Because that actress is like grown up now. She's a grown up. It's been 7 years since It Chapter 1, so she's all grown up. But no, I thought it was fine. It's her mother her mother hanging herself, which like, I mean, this is one of those things that tell me what you think about this, because like one of the moment in chapter 2 with Bev and Mrs. Kirsch was like specifically playing on the father-daughter relationship, right? Like she goes there, at first thinks this is her father's house. This is where her father used to live. And she meets this old woman who is speaking lovingly about her father. And it turns out this horrible woman is actually Pennywise, and is the really playing on the trauma of her father. But now we have a little bit more context that Bev meets this same woman when she is a child on the day and kind of at the moment that her mother has committed suicide, which complicates it a little bit more too, right? Because now the Mrs. Kirsch situation is connected to the trauma of mother and father, but it's also connected to like maybe somewhere in the back of her head. Like I don't think Bev remembers Mrs. Kirsch. This random old lady said this creepy thing to me while my mother was hanging their dead in front of me. So I don't think she like consciously remembers, oh, this was the woman that did that. But it is also on some level connected to that day and that trauma. And it's maybe one of the few moments I think in the show that ultimately enhanced something in the films for me.
Yeah, I could see that. I like that a lot. I wonder. I love Bev, and I understand she's a fan favorite, and I like what you said about the father-daughter connection. And there's that really gross moment when Alvin like shoves her off. It's like very cold and cruel. And I understand people are grieving, and everyone grieves differently, whatever. But it's a telling moment.
Oh yeah.
But I wonder what else they could have done with the scene, or a different scene. I don't know, because they had to put. She's old. She's in Juniper Hill. Mm-hmm. She can't leave. So it works, but I'm wondering if there could have been something different revealed, like if if Bev could have accidentally stumbled to her room, something like that, where it's fine. I like it. I think I like it a lot. I think I'm just what she says just. Okay, how are we connecting this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think I just want more, like, what are we trying to say here with Ingrid and Bob Gray and then Alvin and Bev? Is there something? Or once more, I'm overthinking and we got a S, W.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the thing that I, over that 5-minute ramble session I just had, have worked my way to more significance to it than it was probably intended to have. I think it was just like a fun callback,
fan service.
Yeah, I mean, like, so we have Ingrid as a character, and so the one thing we didn't do in the episode proper was like close the door on her, and so we do that, and then in that same moment get to use her to throw it forward. Which, by the way, I still think the Ingrid character is outside of Pennywise. I think we're going to see the Ingrid character back in 1935 and back in 1908. I think we're going to see that character back in both of those time periods. She's the only character that definitively exists in in all three of our time periods. And so using her as the character to also connect forward to the films ultimately makes sense in retrospect. And I just like, if you're going to do that, if you decide you're going to do that, well, then connect it to Bev. And if you're going to connect it to Bev, use this moment, I guess. I do think, I don't know how things work in a mental institution in the 80s, but maybe take her off the rope before you let your daughter come see their mom that's just killed herself. That seemed, I mean, the image is like, the reason the show did it is because like it's just a very powerful, stark image. But man, like I would hope that where I find myself in that horrible, tragic situation, that I would not have to watch my mom hang there.
Right? I am also glad that we do have that final moment, because I think there was a lot of people out there who thought Lily was Bev's mom.
Yeah, we said that last week, right? Yeah.
Right. I'm really glad that she's not. I'm glad that we have a red-haired lady, tragically, in a position nobody wants to see her in, but it's not Lily. And I like that Lily wasn't doomed to madness and she didn't have a terrible fate. So I'm actually quite relieved that it's not Lily.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that's one thing we can start to wrap up on is I predicted last week quite a few people were going to die that didn't, right? I still said Hank. I thought that Hank was going to die. I thought that Ronnie was going to die. I thought that Charlotte was going to die. And I almost still thought Charlotte was going to die, by the way, almost to the very end of the episode when Lee gets dead lit. By the way, we got a lot of emails and messages from people who said it would be dead lighted, not dead lit, if we're going to be proper English, but I like dead lit better. So I'm going to say that. That's my that's my Cuthbert of the day.
Bravo to everyone with lovely grammar. Kudos to you. But there's too many syllables. We be lazy.
But so when Lee gets dead lit and Charlotte like rushes out to his side, I was like, oh no. Oh no, this is the moment. This is the moment Charlotte dies. Fortunately that did not happen. But like I was expecting a lot more people to die. Like I don't think anyone guessed Taniel's going to die, but he ended up being like the only one in that sequence that died. I found that surprising. And the end is pretty good. Like it was pretty positive and sunshiny of an ending compared to what we thought we were going to get.
It was. And technically speaking, I mean, unknown if they have the other seasons planned. I would really like it if they kept cast people like Flanagan does and they just are in different roles. Unknown if they can do that or plan to, but yeah, it was rosy. It was happy. It was not the bloodbath that I thought. I guess that was our black spot. The penultimate was our augury bloodbath, and then we just have good triumphing in our episode 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't hate it. Yeah, I thought it was sweet.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Ask Comma W.
I do want to say one more thing about the whole time travel can experience all timelines simultaneously thing. The only way I would end up ultimately liking this is if it's like a trap, kind of, in that Pennywise is like, he perceives time non-linearly, but time still exists in this cause and effect chain that he is absolutely powerless to prevent. Like this idea that he kind of knows he's doomed no matter what he does and there's nothing he can do about it. I mean, I understand that kind of flies in the exact face of what the show is doing and it's setting up season 2. But I kind of like that. The idea that like Pennywise knew or knows that Georgie is Bill Denborough's brother and then fucking eats him anyway because he can't help himself.
Right?
Like you would think a multi-dimensional monster who had witnessed his own death at the hands of Bill and his friends would not fuck with that guy. And yet he does it anyway. And I like the idea is that like that perception is almost a curse of like, Marge, I know your son is going to kill me. There's nothing I can do about it. And things are like, it's the Lostian what happened idea, right? Is that like,
right.
You can maybe witness the past or the present or the future, but you're powerless to do anything other than what was going to happen anyway.
Oh, Scott, this is so messy. This is such a can of worms.
It just doesn't belong in this story. It's the thing. Like, it really doesn't.
It doesn't, because now I don't want to be thinking about, wow, what was going through his mind when he ripped Georgie's arm off? Like, was he thinking about the repercussions of the space-time continuum? I don't want to be thinking about that. He's a beast. He's a monster. He's an alien. He was hungry. Georgie was there. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm sad now that, well, I'm going to have to do some work to like really, really separate myself. Like turn off the show's version of Pennywise and focus on novel version of Pennywise. Our cosmic question mark. Just focus on that and not this time traveling chess piece. Oh, it's so messy now.
You know a great way to do that? This is an 1,100 page palette cleanser.
That's true.
But I mean, drink works too. That also works.
Drinking is a little faster. Have a cocktail with your next viewing. But no, you're right. I think that might be the ultimate necessary remedy is a reread.
Do you think that at any time after the events of this story, someone went back to that old tree and just pushed that dagger in a little further?
Oh, I hope so.
They didn't dig it deep.
God.
It just like touches the earth. It just like bing. Just maybe cover that up a little bit.
Yeah, somebody get a backhoe. Somebody get a very large construction shovel and push that thing down there as deep as it goes. Good grief.
So, ultimately, was Taniel leading them under Nebold House just a misdirect?
Ooh. Oh, good question.
The show never tells us this explicitly, but...
No, I'm trying to remember our little map with red circles. I'm like, where was Nebold House?
Maybe at the center, right? I guess.
Oh, yeah. How would we get to... I'm still confused. I'm still confused of how the sewers is the only entry point when we've got the dead tree. Isn't that was a point? We could have just followed the circumference from the dead tree to what did they do?
Well, the dead tree is only part of it now because they buried it there, where it's like a circle with it's like an ice cream cone now because the dead tree is there. Like
that's true.
We're making a lot of jokes at the expense of the dead tree. I mean, I think it again in the construction of like making a set piece and making an emotional last moment, having a clearly defined thing to walk towards in this last moment, and like it make it clear for the audience, like, because otherwise it's this very nebulous, like, if Pennywise gets past this point before we get the dagger there, he'll escape. So we need some sort of landmark there. And so there's just like, yeah, I don't know, there's just like this dead tree, and that just happens to be exactly at the spot that we need to bury the dagger. So there we go. Dead tree.
Copy that. That works. I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know if Taniel was pulling a fast one and buying time, or if in fact the only way to get to beacons, barriers, pillars was the sewer.
Maybe there's like 2 of the pillars that you need to access via the sewer, because we only saw them dig up 1, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And that one was on that south end of town that was right next to the river, because that's the one that moves just further out to create our ice cream cone. So yeah, maybe there are some only accessible by sewer ones. It still doesn't really make sense why you'd have to go via Nebold House. I mean, like, Kim, the real reason is they just wanted to work Nebold House into the show, and that's the way they did it. But yeah, I wonder.
You're 100% correct. From last week's episode, I have another question, because now we've opened up the can. So why did War Chief Sesky appear to Dick to dig up the Black Rock? Why would the chief do that? Wouldn't she have, like, did I miss something?
No, I don't think you missed anything. My headcanon on this is just that, like, the spirits of dead people hang out where they died. And so it was not that she was leading Dick back to, because they specifically said it was buried where their chief died.
Yes.
So I think she was just hanging out where she died. And
that works.
I still don't understand why Dick helped them in that moment. We don't have to relitigate that because we talked about that last week, but I still, even in his kind of crazed, I'm hearing voices state, it still does not make sense to me why he would just be like, hold on, pause, voice overload. I can find that rock for you. Let's go do that.
Okay, I do feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
It would make sense that, because I was a little concerned that Chief Sesky was a part of this conspiracy. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be good.
She's been working for Pennywise the whole time.
Oh my God, Scott. I would pass out. I just couldn't even if that was true. I could not.
There was a moment when Will has the dagger and trying to walk towards the tree and he says, I can't do it. I was going to be like, I thought they were going to do a moment of like, I don't want to. Like a literal like Isildur at Mount Doom moment.
It's mine.
The dagger is mine.
Oh man, I would have jumped through my TV screen and slapped Will in the face again. I love you so much, Will, but you can't fail.
I also did appreciate the irony of them like saying, come on, we have to approach the tree from the far side so that none of the army people see us. And then there's like a shot of them walking up to the tree from the perspective of Leroy's, and the dagger is glowing so bright. Like if anyone just happened to look over there, they would clearly see this group of people walking towards the tree. I thought that was very funny.
It was. That is the brightest LED inside that dragon glass. That thing was bright. We've never seen it glow that bright.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That was wild.
We should mention that the patty cakes got like dead lit and like nobody cared. Nobody cared.
Nobody cared about them patty cakes. Sorry.
I did like that one moment when like Patty is asking like who the ugliest couple would be, and I forget the one that's chewing gum, but she just like mumbles something that you can't hear at all, and then Patty's just like, shut up. I don't know why I like that so much, but I did.
It was really cute. And just like so hateful and hilarious. They're walking in. She goes, who is the ugliest? Like that high pitched Valley Girl voice. Who is the ugliest? And she says, Teddy Urine and Bert the Turtle. They would be so ugly if they had a baby.
Teddy's dead, Patty.
Yeah. I know.
Fuck off.
Right?
Why would
Isn't she a monster?
Why would you pick a dead person?
Monster.
Yeah.
She's the real monster, those patty cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just love it.
No.
They didn't, but come on. All of their legs just completely broken, right? Just like if anyone was going to break their legs falling 6 feet onto the ice, it's the patty cakes.
Oh man, compound fractures everywhere. Everywhere, Scott. My goodness. They were so high up.
They were so high.
It was such a cool visual, but when they came down, dang.
They're fine. They're totally fine.
Some loud cracks were heard. Good grief. I wish we would have had more content on that. Seeing them limping and screaming in pain. Those poor kids.
Bones sticking out.
Right? That's the real horror. You want some body horror? Here you go.
Kim, possibly the most important question we have to ask here at the end of the episode.
Okay.
Are you going to be watching It, Welcome to Derry Season 2?
Yes. I say with reluctance, but I know that once I see one little preview for the new season, I'm going to be all over it. I'm going to be excited because I ultimately love Stephen King anything. I'm just one of those fangirls for life. So I'm definitely going to watch season 2, and I'll probably be excited about it when the time comes.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, once again, this is my favorite novel of all time. I love this book. Yeah. I love these characters. I love it so much. And so I'm going to be a sucker for it. You put it on a screen and tell me that it's there. I'm going to watch it no matter what.
Yep.
So, yep. I mean, the second season could be complete dog shit, and I'd still probably keep watching it. So I'm here for the ride wherever it goes, into the past, into the future.
Gross.
Whatever.
Right? Yeah, we're going to have to SW our way for a long time.
Yeah, I was worried. I was worried that our shirt at doofmedia.myshopify.com wasn't going to get a lot of use, but man, we got 2 more years of this, and then probably It Part 3 coming after that. Pennywise in space.
I think season 2, Jody will have to fix the font so it's in all caps. So we're screaming. I think that'll be a nice 2.0 for season 2. I love it so much.
Yeah.
We'll be screaming.
What
we'll be
if
screaming.
Pennywise gets into the computer and becomes an AI in 20, whenever the next cycle is?
You know, I'm ready to get off this mortal coil, Penny. Come to my house and just blow the bomb. We're ready. We millennials are ready. So come on down, Penny. Let's have a dance. That would, I mean, if they sold that, oh my God, I would throw up and then I would watch.
Yeah, you think you're talking to Chat GPT, but you're actually talking to Chat PTDC.
And it would be so silly every single time. He's like, do you want a balloon? Yes, I do. I want how many balloons today? 5. That's the correct answer.
Okay, can you just put together this Excel spreadsheet for me? Can you smell the circus? No, could you just add these numbers together for me?
I need this graph, please.
This is terrible. Let's stop giving them ideas.
Right? Oh my goodness.
I guess that's going to do it for episode 8, Winterfire. Why is it called that, Kim?
Oh, well,
because it was cold. Because it was cold outside.
Yeah, I think that we went wintry. We got some winter. Maybe the dagger was the fire because it brought the blast.
Sure.
I don't know. Also, we have Beverly and her red hair.
You can't,
we saw that at the end.
You can't name a whole episode because of a cameo and an epilogue. You can't do that. That's not allowed. That's against the rules.
You're right, but look who we're dealing with. We gotta, there's some allowances that have to be made for who we are dealing with.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got some winter and some fire in some forms on the icy Penobscot River, frozen solid by Pennywise, aka Storm from X-Men. And completely brought winter and maybe a toxic mist for one tree.
That poor one tree.
That poor little sapling.
Remember when Lily is following the blood trail and just walking on the blood trail? The chick, she is crazy.
That little bozo.
This is why people think she's crazy.
Yeah, she's a little cuckoo pants.
Yeah.
She's definitely the freak when Pennywise is like, the freak? The fool? I was like, oh, it's Lily. Lily is the freak.
Maybe Lily
instantly.
is secretly all 3, and that's the twist.
Oh, I like your thinking. I like this a lot.
Okay.
She makes a case.
So here's what I want us to do. We're going to spend the next 7 days sitting on this season and this 8-episode event that we've just gone through. And then we're going to come back a week from now and we're going to see how we feel about the whole thing. Not this episode in particular, but the whole thing. We're going to have one final conversation chatting about Welcome to Derry chapter 1. And see if we change out. Maybe we'll revisit some episodes in the intermediate time. I don't know. But it'll be a loose conversation. We'll just see what happens. But I want to try to do that and see how we feel a week from now.
I'm so excited. I think this is so smart. This is like the smartest thing ever. I love this because it takes time to process. And I think in the processing, more logic comes in and a bit more grace for things. And yeah. I love it. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes just sitting with something changes your opinion on it. Like I had a really interesting thing happen to me this year. I saw Superman, the movie, and I walked out of it like really liking it. And then I thought about it for a little bit and then I stopped liking it as much. And then I recorded a podcast in which I was fairly negative about a lot of it. And then like a week after that, I just stopped caring about all the negative stuff and really started liking it again. And now I'm at a place where I just really, really like the movie. So time is weird sometimes. and especially when you perceive it non-linearly like Pennywise. So we'll see. We'll see what a week does for us.
I'm excited. I'm excited to learn from myself.
All right. Well, that will be on the docket for our final episode next week, at least for now. We'll decide next week whether we want to return Kim to do this again in however many years it's going to take for them to make this television show, second season.
If they get greenlit, somebody said that they weren't greenlit yet, but I could be wrong.
I don't think it's been officially greenlit, but I mean, there's all kinds of weird behind the scenes stuff that happens with this stuff. So you never know. You really never know.
Totally.
And everything's of course up in the air with the acquisition and what's going to happen there. I mean, that's years away. Probably these things take so long to suss out, like just logistically and then legally as well. So, there's a good chance the second season would be out before any of that's settled. But also, we're in this weird time in TV right now where it takes a long time between seasons. Too long, frankly, in my opinion. I mean, we're on Stranger Things season 5, and those children are full-ass adults now. So... I think I don't know how long this, like, if it was greenlit like today and they went into production today, how long it would take for them to get done would probably be 2 years without any other delay. So who knows? But we'll talk about that more next week. Until then, Kim, where can people find you, and what have you been doing besides dairying it up?
Hello, again, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I have been in a hole of approaching holiday chaos, so I haven't been able to start my roll-in journey because I've been a little frazzle-dazzled. So I'm so sorry. I am waiting for that blissful post-Christmas come down to crack open Dark Tower 7. And so I'm a little bit delayed turning in, wrapping up semesters for the year, all that jazz. So everybody else, the main point of Scott's question is like, Dally, I am on Spotify. You can find me at The Year of Underrated Stephen King. I have a one-woman Stephen King podcast. I'm on YouTube, a couple other spots. And then if you want additional content, I do lots of fun stuff on the Patreon, patreon.com/dancewithkimc, which is dance with an S. And that's my little side project, which is a lot of fun, shorter, sweeter episodes. So that's where I be. You can also say hi via Gmail at underratedsk@gmail, and I will promptly say hello back.
Yeah, that's great. Please follow Kim if you haven't already. I don't know what you're doing if you haven't, but please do. And Kim, if I find out that you are not reading The Dark Tower because you've decided to reread it for the umpteenth time, I'm gonna be pretty mad at you. So don't do that.
I would never. No, I have been dying to get to book 7 for many months now. I am ready, and I have been so pissed that the shackles of Christmas are preventing me from finding a peaceful moment where I can return to the quartet. I am dying to do it. So I promise I will prioritize Dark Tower 7, and I don't think I could do a reread without a buddy now. I feel like it is such a special journey, and I think I highly recommend you do it with a friend, everyone. I think it's a really, because when I read it with you and Dr. Freeman, it was one of the coolest experiences ever, knowing that I was going to talk about it with people. It was great.
It's so fun. I mean, this is why book clubs exist, but you don't have to have a whole big club. You can just have a friend and you read it and chat about it.
Yeah, and then you go and get coffee, and then you talk about where you're at, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole wonderful endeavor.
Reading can be a very isolated experience, but it doesn't have to be. And I mean, that's kind of what we do here. So yeah. Cool. Make sure you check out our other show, Flanagan's Wake, where Matt and I are wrapping up Bly Manor. This week, our episode covering the finale comes out, and then next week we'll be doing an overview episode similar to like Kim and I are going to do here on Welcome to Derry. So make sure you check that out. If you want to hear me talk more positively on a show that I absolutely love, that is the place to do it. Check that out, Flanagan's Wake. We also have a whole year's worth of diving into Mike Flanagan over there. So if for whatever reason you haven't made the jump from Kingslingers over to Flanagan's Wake, please do so. And as far as this show, please send us emails or messages or comments or anything. Let us know, what did you think of this finale? What did you think of this show? What did you think of this season? How are you feeling about it leaving it? You know, we said the acclaim was almost universal, but the almost means not universally, right? So I want to hear all the differing opinions on what worked and what didn't work and why from you guys.
Final moments, Scott. What have you noticed that people love so much in your research?
Bill Skarsgård. They really love the depiction of Pennywise.
Oh my gosh.
The things I've seen most are Skarsgård rules. This is the best depiction of Pennywise I've ever seen. And then a lot of rich love. A lot of rich love is out there.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. Oh my gosh. The moment where Margie is crab walking on the ice and he's kind of hunching over her. Bill Skarsgård is so tall and he's very attractive. And so in that scene, I'm like, oh my God, he's so tall. And I'm so conflicted because he's so handsome in real life. I'm stuck, Scott. I've got problems.
He's like got like cracks all in his makeup skin and like and all.
You're right.
And like his teeth are like coming out and he's unhinging his jaw to shine lights at people. And all you're doing is like,
Dude, I know. I got problems. I don't know how or why this happened, but I ain't alone. I know. I know I'm not alone out there, buddies, because we have seen things.
We've gone from pickle dad to pickle daddy. It's
Dibs.
I think that's the perfect place to end things for the week.
I agree.
We will see you folks back here next week for our final episode covering It, Welcome to Derry, Chapter 1. Until then, long days and pleasant nights.
And may you have twice the number.